it's this one kind of gives me, even though thematically it's not the same thing, but it gives me a little bit of Comeback Kid vibes. I think just the bass coming in. Let's play it. Let's play the song. Let's play Long Island. Let's play it through, and we'll do the breakdown. We'll get to it. So here is Long Island, by Midnight.
If the world was ending, I'd bike over to your house, steal the bottle Dad's been saving, and kiss you on the mouth, and touch you, and get drunk, and watch it all burn down, and stop pretending that we might make it out. We were two islands when the waters had parted, and this is a song to tell you to break through and finish what you started. To the muse, oh, how you want her, into the waiting arms at the edge of the water. Now 7th Avenue, it wouldn't be so kind to you, but in the age of the poets, weren't we the kings? Your ghost in my room, forever in bloom, still drink 4 roses. But the village is a dream, floating out to sea. You went to school and got a serious degree, and settled in your hometown, and start your family. And I missed you when we get drunk and paint everything black. Should we stop pretending we might make it back? We were two islands when the waters had parted, and this is a song to tell you to break through and finish what you started. And to the muse, oh, how you want her, into the waiting arms at the edge of the water. Now 7th Avenue, it wouldn't be so kind to you, but in the age of the poets, weren't we the kings? Your ghost in my room, forever in bloom, still drink 4 roses, but the village is a dream, floating out to sea. Walking through the streets with a fading memory of who we used to be. You carry part of me. Walking through the streets, every future history, her finished elegies. You carry part of me,
And there you have it. Long Island by the Midnight. Just a great song. Tyler just really outdid himself on this one. So good. It was really. I just wanted to get out of the way of the songwriting. I just wanted to like serve that and service that. And every time I tried adding too much, I don't know. It just, or if I added stuff, it just felt like too much. What's this? Oh, what this is. Let's listen. Oh yeah, that was a little sound. I was like, oh, maybe there's room for that. Forgot to delete it. Man, it was crunch time here in April and May when I was finishing this record. God damn. Let's have a listen. How does this sound? See, that's a nice sound. That's why I put it aside. I want to use it for something. I got to remember to do that. Okay, you know what? How about we just start with the drums this time around? Just, this might be also one of the sessions where I actually built the drums, because I used a lot of these drums on a lot of, maybe the vocals there, on a lot of the songs on the album. This is kind of was right at the end in April when the drums really felt like they were taking shape, and I was like, this feels like this is a solid kit. Let's play it here. I mean, it's so fucking embarrassingly simple. But to be honest, that's what I strive for. If I can make something sound super tight, full, and punchy and rich, that's just a hi-hat and a kick and a snare. That's, and then the key is how you mix it. You do a little ducking, a little side chaining here and there and all that stuff. But anyway, this is, so the drum, let's see here. What do we have? This is some old, it says Splice Kicks, but it's actually the kick sample I'm using is this. It's actually what I called the Sentinels kick. This was a very early version of the Sentinels kick in 2016, 17, 18-ish. It kind of evolved. It's also the one I use for the Lost Boy kick, but this is the raw kick. And the reason I haven't pulled this one up in other sessions because I bounced this with all the source on it, so I had it. And it was just easy. It didn't have to pull as much CPU. But this is the raw kick. This is how it sounds. What I got here? I got a little bit of centering, low end, and just a little bit of this. So it's really not. This is kind of your raw. Right. Let's take this off. This is the drum bus. So this with nothing on it. And then the drum bus is this one. Oh, sorry. A little bit of saturation. Great this one isn't great for 808 stuff, but it's very, very great for like mid-rangey, like pop drum, like rock, live or drum machine, things like that. It has like a very mid-range kind of clicky presence. So synthwave and stuff. It adds this really nice low end. If you want it, it's nice. Anyway, so this guy, subtle, adding a tiny bit of punch, a tiny bit of drive into the clip, a little bit of clipping, soft clipping, and this is kind of doing a bit more work if you bypass it. So this is bypassed. And why don't I just play the whole drum beat? You hear that? It kind of tightens it up. This squash thing, I want to make sure I bring the right, this is, you've got to be really careful. If I play this will squash it. So punch is obviously punch. It's adding some transient, in addition to what this is adding. But if I'll twiddle this knob and you'll hear what it does. It's really aggressive. So it's by minus 0.2 just to tighten it up, and you'll see what happens when I kind of turn it the other way. But see, only at 2.7, it's bringing up all the room in the reverb or anything. It's fantastic about that. But I find that if you have anything that it's not doing it now, but maybe it's when you play it. No, it's not doing it now for some reason. But most sessions, it will bring up a lot of hiss and white noise that just when the drums are not playing, it'll just be like, you can just hear this, background hiss, because it's like upward compression essentially. So when I have it in the plus mode, I have it like +1 or 2 at most, and sometimes I've had to put a noise gate past, after the drum as the last thing, because it just is gating, catching some of that like hiss that's created when the drums are kind of idle. So just a little heads up, but this is just tightening it up a tiny bit. You hear that? Without it, little bit less gluey, bring it back in. You hear how like that nice and compartmentalized the drums just became? They're just kind of clenched right up, as it were. Sorry for the vocabulary. That was maybe the wrong image. Nothing should be clenching up in your session, let me tell you. Okay, so that's the kick. Let me go back to this. So this is the kick, drum bus, blah, blah, blah. Here I have Pultec. It's low cutting a little bit, I think. Maybe it's not. I think isn't that low cutting? No, it's not. Not low cutting, it's just high cutting a little bit. And then we have Manic Compressor doing whatever that's doing, a little tightening, a little compression. A little bit of, not anything going on here, but just a shortening the sound a touch, essentially. EQ, probably to control some of this, yeah. So you can hear if when I bypass this, hang on. Hear that. This is bypassed, and we bring it in. Still have a little bit of that mid-range punch, but you really don't need. That's my kind of gripe with a lot of Lindrum sounding drum sounds, that they all feel so like they really they can get really kind of harsh, and then Disperse is fantastic to making something just a little bit more contemporary, I'd say. I don't know if you'll be able to hear a big difference here, but this is without it. Hear that? A little bit of presence in the mids, just controlling it a little bit. Okay, so here's our snares. One snare here. The other one. And it's essentially like more of a roomy, some whatever sample I have. So together they're both being sent to various, it's just this one is being sent to a reverb. This guy here, the vintage verb. So this is what they sound like. And then it's just a simple hi-hat. Now, key is to really roll off some highs from that hi-hat. This is dry. This one is a great hi-hat from, what are they called? Swedish company, Goodhertz. They're fantastic. This is great. It has a lo-fi function that kind of essentially like rolls off a lot of highs. And it's just a nice kind of warm, organic. You can really crunch something. It's great on drum buses, but it does give you that very crunched lo-fi feel. So in this case, I'm just using on the hi-hat to kind of mellow it out a bit. And then here, control some of the harshness. Obviously, we don't need the low ends without it. With it, just cleaning it up a bit. And here we are rolling off more highs. This is the filter I keep talking about, a simple little filter, but it sounds really good. This is without it and with it. So here you really hear a difference. I just love the slope, the 24 slope, whether you're rolling off highs. In this case, it's set to high pass, and so I'm rolling off a bunch of lows. It's so aggressive, but it's never harsh. It's really fantastic. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. That's the drums. And then I have some toms here. You know, the good old midnight toms. So, you know. I think that might be... I don't know, is this... Yeah, that's just my, like... I don't even know. Maybe that's like a crystalline snare. Yeah, crystalline snare. I used one of the snares in crystalline. I was like, that sounds like a tom, essentially, that I made, and I bounced it with reverb and everything, and that's what it sounds like. So there you go. A little bit of Exciter on that. Old school reverb. It's a free reverb that is surprisingly good. It sounds really good. It's free. Go check it out. That's the reverb I used since Nocturnal, the Nocturnal days for the... This is a different sample, but similar. You know, like the Simmons toms, kind of snare toms, kind of fill in. And again, this guy, that's it. That's our drums. So that's our bed for, you know, whatever shenanigans we're going to get up to. This guy, this is same, you know, I'm sure I changed the setting a bit, but this is our Collateral. This is our, you know, Love is an Ocean. Let's try and play. Trying to remember Ocean, Love is an Ocean. The key. It was lower, but you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? That's this guy. Just simple. Lovely Juno. You can never go wrong with this bad boy. If you want to make synthwave, get yourself the Tal Uno LAX. I think it's like $50 or $60. It's like a steal, and it's low on the CPU. It sounds fantastic. Get it. It's just so simple. Great. It's like the Lost Boy bass is that. I used it in a ton of stuff. The bass is a lot of the similar bass that I use. This is the top I use for most of the album, this little plucky sound. It's actually the bass for the sort of main bass in, oh God, what's the first single we put out? God, I can't remember my own songs. Someone in the chat, what was our first single before Love is an Ocean? Chariot. God damn, I'm embarrassment. I'm gonna get thrown out of this band real fast. I can't even remember our own songs. Okay, so it's actually that bass, and then I just tweaked it a bit, and then throw Devaster on it just to control it a little bit. You hear that? Just a bit more, just a little bit tighter. And then I'm just rolling off some highs and some lows. So here we have, I'm sure this is probably the lows. Yep, rolling off lows here. Because we don't need all that low information. We're going to have another bass doing that. So. And then it's a little, there's a little bit of a, just bring this in. There's a little bit of like high end. It's, you know, above like 10K or something. So I'm rolling that off because it's a little grating to the ear, if you notice. You hear that? That's a bit more palatable. It's just a bit easy on the ear. So little things like that. I wasn't always as good at rolling off highs and just cleaning up those things that kind of fatigue the ear after a while. So you just want to be careful of that. Now you don't want to. The balance is always to not get rid of everything that sounds too harsh or whatever, because at some point you kind of lose. You can lose some punch and some presence and some grit. You know, you don't want to make it. I don't know. It can get too pretty, but depending on how far you want to go, it's nice. So, okay. So here I used, I didn't even get to Serum 2 while I was finishing the album. So this splice pack that's coming out, that all has presets for Serum 2, but that's because I ported over the sounds that I used, that I made myself. They are ported over in Serum 2. I just kind of elevated them because you can do more in Serum 2. I love it. It's so cool. You know, so I just tighten it up, and it has, in addition to all the new sounds I made for Serum 2, it has some of those sounds in Serum 2 that I just kind of like amped up and made them work in Serum 2. So here's our bass. It's a really classic, you know, got a little bit of chorus on it, a little bit of dimension. Not much going on. It doesn't open, doesn't close, just does the thing. I mean, there's a filter on the bass channel. So this is being sent, this is how it sounds then. If we mute this one, here, like, it's just like missing a little bit of definition. So this is how it comes in. So I have a filter here. Gently just opens. All right, so that's our thing. So let's put this in. Let's just do all this. You know, real nice and chill. I want to create space for Tyler here. Trying to see. Okay, we'll go to this one. This is just our little kind of filler. Spire. Every time I tried to throw, like I said, every time I tried to throw stuff on here, it just felt a little like a little too grating or too, like it was trying to do too much. So I had to be really subtle, and I just wanted to create tons of space for Tyler's voice, for Tyler's vocal, and for the Lilia's in there too. I think I did. What did I do? A little? Oh no, that's just Tyler. Oh, it's muted. I thought I did. No, that's all. This is all Tyler, and then Lilia did some high dubs. Really, really beautiful stuff. So we'll get to that. But yeah, so we got the bell, and then for the chorus, it's the good old Saurus Creamy Pad. We've met before. It's kind of like a wavy sound. Just really, it's kind of all over the album, you know, and I tweak the sound every time to fit whatever track I'm doing, but very simple stuff. This is the MIDI. Very simple. That's the key right there. That's the midnight chord. Minor. And then this is, I built a career on that chord. Don't tell anyone. And now I just ended it by giving my secret away. My career is over. It was fun while it lasted, guys. Solo, you know, good old guitar solo. I had so much fun leaning back into this. There's one guitar solo by Royce, like with a real guitar, from what I recall on the whole album. The rest, all the other solos from what I recall, is all me just doing my thing on that synth. And I'm not, you know, I'm not the best at it, but I'm like decent, and I like designing the journey. You know, so I have it sent. Hang on, let's just see what's it's being sent. So it's sent to Miniverb. It's a really nice delay. Like a lo-fi delay. Google it, Miniverb. It sounds good. It's just a good little one. And I throw Guitar Rig. It's essentially a diva. This is the preset. I don't know if I changed it or tweaked it when I came across it 12 years ago or whenever that was. Got a little bit of, you know, a little bit of filter on the velocity. I guess also on the regular, you know, level. But it has a nice touch to it. And then I throw through, I've been through multiple guitar rigs. So there was a period of time where I couldn't even open it. It was like a channel strip, but I couldn't actually do tutorials because I couldn't, the second I opened it, it would be like, oh, this is out of date. This doesn't work. But I was able to get away with it by opening the channel strip and not opening the plugin. It just was there and it was open, but I couldn't, you know, double click it and kind of open and change the settings. Then it would kind of know that the jig was up for some reason. So I was like, well, I'll continue, you know, but then I had to update it at some point. And so last year I updated it, and I spent hours trying to go through all the lead sounds to find, you know, something that feels like I like a vocal or a synth guitar to, you know, an 80s guitar to sound. So these are all my like different ones. These are my 3 ones. Let's see here. Guitar lick. This would be here. Probably the same one. Yeah, so this is similar, but Solo Maker is another. A little bit different. But the one we're using here is this guy. And also, I never talked about this, but I have my glide. I think the key is to add a little bit of like human feel when you're playing. I have my glide set to, where is this? Up to, 2 semitones. So when I bend the note up, it does this. So it's 1 full note. And then down is a whole octave. So that way I can play it like this. It just gives it a little bit of, you can kind of rip it a little bit more. It feels, I don't know, for lack of a better word, a little bit more human. But the goal is not, for me at least, is not to make it sound one-to-one like a real guitar. The goal is to kind of emulate those kind of keytar sounds that, we heard from in the Miami Vice, like Jan Hammer or whatever. Or for me, I'm trying to emulate sort of my synth lead version of Steve Lukather's, lead guitar tone in Toto, because that's what I grew up on, that kind of stuff, So that's what I do. It's funny, the things that you don't think about, that they become either a calling card or a thing that people like a characteristic sound for the Midnight. Like I think about that sound, the release pad, which I've talked about it, but let's open it up. This is completely an aside, but it's, yeah, you go in under. I'm totally ending my own career here. Pads, I think, yeah, pad, and then it's called release pad. There we go, release pad. There we go. It's this guy here. So it's just you press in the chord, and when you release it, that's the sound it makes. So I just made this chord, the Midnight chord. I don't even think I did I think I just did these. Maybe. Anyway, my point being, that was a bit of a detour, sorry. My point being, this and like the guitar sound has become like the sort of Midnight sound, which I never thought about. I was like, this is a cool sound, and I like to use it. And it saves me having to get, this was in the early days where we didn't have like a ton of people or money to pay musicians either. So a lot of it was just like, well, I can play a little guitar, quote unquote, sound, lead synth solo. And I thought it was fun. And it was like the whole kitschiness of it was the goal for me. So, and then that becomes your sound. So yeah, lean into your little weird eccentricities. That's the fun of it, man. Okay. So we did the bells, we did the guitar, we did these things, we did all this stuff. We are ready to get to Ben's stuff. We've got Nest Acoustics all up in this B. This is like, what did he add? This is for the chorus, I think, or maybe, yeah, this is for the chorus. He adds some textures and stuff. So here's what he added. So, oh, wait, we have Royce Plucks. So what's this? Oh, yeah, so he's just following the bass. Let's just do that, give it some context. You hear that? It kind of gives a little, adds a little dimension to that bass that's just plucking along. So let me play these things, and then I'll bring in Ben's sounds. Maybe without Royce's, just to give a little bit more space up here. And then we have Nest Acoustics layer here. Beautiful, you know, just really beautiful. What's this now? This kind of swells in. It's really nice. So if we bring it into context here, bring it here, and let's do this one, and let's get this guy too. And this. Beautiful, man. I mean, that's Ben. That's Nest, man. He's just so good here. What's this? Is that me? That's probably me. Oh, okay. I bounced these. That's true. We can get rid of these. Okay, I muted these. I bounced them because they were doing funny, weird stuff with this. There's a little like, you'll see here. What's the one guy here? The delay has like a weird like glitchiness in it, and it kept changing, and I liked it, but I didn't want it to. I wanted to make sure I did the same thing every time, so I wasn't getting all kinds of weird pitchy stuff. Anyway, so we gone through that one. Then we get to, let's go to this. This is also Ben. What's this? Ooh. Let's just turn this up a bit. Listen to that like weird sound. It's just such a nice, and he also has these transitions. This is all Ben. Ooh, it's like colorized, you know, beautiful. Let's just do a little coming into that, and we'll have it with all his texture. So this, we'll hear this one now. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so this and the transitions and this. And this pad. Beautiful. And then now with this guy. It's here that it's just it's bringing life in such a nice way. Now I listen to these, and sometimes I wonder, I've done this in a few the sessions, Runaways as well. I was like, oh man, maybe I mixed this too low. Like, oh, I should have brought this up. But when you're in it, it's just, you know, you've got to serve the song. If it's a song that has, you know, track that has vocals on it. And sometimes these things, these high-pitched things, can get in the way of either the melody, or they take up a frequency area, and you just want to dial it back. So, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, I should have turned that up. But you live and you learn. That's such just life. Bridge was all Ben all day. That was, he sent me these chords, and I can't remember why. I think these were the chords. I think I just shortened them and edited it so to fit the length, but this is essentially it. So let's listen to this. Oh, it's all like burnt. You hear that? It's like a burnt synth. Beautiful. Ooh, that's some Coldplay shit right there. That sounds like Fix You. That kind of color, those types of chords. Okay, what's this? Little sub. Yes, we love it. We love it. We love it. And then here. So all these kind of, I call them like burnt sounds, but they sound like they're kind of a little burnt and crispy. Oof. Chris Martin, call us. Jeez, just call me, Chris. Why are you being, why are you being like this? Just give me a call. Let's make some music. Is that it? That might be it. It's really simple. I went through these bells, this thing we listened to, all this stuff. That's it. I mean, this is besides the vocals. That's it. The rest is like just ebbs and flows. Drums drop out here and there. The little things filter out. That's it. There's nothing. This song was not about like a big drop or anything. This was kind of like a classic songwriting structure, as most of our songs are. But anyway, let's get to the vocals. Let's talk about Tyler's vocal. I'll play this super dry, and there's still a little bit of tuner on, but it's honestly, you'll hear that it's ever so subtle. Let's see what I have it on. 35. All right, okay. It's not crazy loose, but it's not very tight.
If the world was ending, I'd bike over to your house, steal the bottle Dad's been saving, and kiss you on the mouth.
Obviously, this is the comp version. I like to. This stuff is so in Tyler's wheelhouse. So this was easy to edit, but I love spending time to get the right performance and choosing the right take that has the right pocket and all that stuff. Okay, so this is the same. Every session, I really went with the distress. Just so good on his voice.
If the world was ending, I'd bike over to your house.
Set to 6-1, a little bit of saturation. Simple. Let's just go through the whole thing here. A little bit of de-esser. This one is good. I have the one from FabFilter 2 is good. I have one or two other ones that I haven't used as much, but this one is an old workhorse that sounds just different enough from the FabFilter one. Then sometimes sometimes I go for this one versus the FabFilter, but that FabFilter is probably my go-to. Surfer EQ, without it.
If the world was ending, I'd buy.
You hear that? It's got some low boxiness, some like right around there.
If the world was ending,
So.
If the world was ending, I'd buy.
Now, as I said, when you're soloing, it sounds like it got real thin, real fast.
If the world was ending, I'd
but don't forget, we've got so much bass and synth and all kinds of stuff and drums and kick and low end going on. We want to kind of create space for that.
If the world was ending,
another EQ to low cut stuff and just kind of be, this is just doing a little bit, I don't think it's doing anything spectral, but it's just a little bit of like, essentially like bandwidth, multi-band compression kind of.
If the world was ending,
and I'm rolling off some highs here ever so gently. So just controlling it. And then I really like this little guy. Use that on a couple of tracks. You just turn up the amount. Make sure this is set to 0. So it's just cranking the compression and a little bit of presence. So it has different settings. I got it on sale from, like a year ago from Softtube. And I was like, oh, I should try that. And it's surprisingly good. I wouldn't rely on it as your main first bus. It's like so good as just a little bit of like last compression, little last sheen. I use it before I add widener, so I'm sure there's a little bit of saturation in there. There's a little bit of whatever, EQ if you want to do that. Very basic, but I just think it's really good. I've only used it for vocals. I haven't tried on other instruments, but really good for that stuff. This is my favorite widener for this whole album. Has been for a while.
If the world was ending,
always also want to say it almost sounds like a bit of a very short reverb, which is technically, I guess it is, but
if the world was ending, I'd bike over to your house.
This is dry.
Steal the bottle Dad's been saving.
You hear that?
Kiss you on the mouth.
Suddenly, it's like taking up some more space. It's like it's in a small room, and you're really creating a focus around that lead. And then I'm sending it to the Lexicon 80s, you know, your kind of 80s reverb, which sounds like this. And I'm probably low cutting a little bit. Yeah, just low, controlling some lows.
If the world was ending, I'd bike over to your house, steal the bottle that's been.
Great reverb. This is my favorite setting. So good. It's almost like a delay, but it's this washed out delay. The pre-delay is quite long, so it just has this beautiful space. It feels long without actually being very long, as you can hear.
I'd bike over to your house, steal the bottle.
That's it on all. I mean, you know, little changes and stuff, but that's it. Let's see here. What we got here?
Now 7th Avenue.
So I'm sending it to an extra besides the reverb. I'm sending the chorus lead to this guy. This is the same delay I used on the chorus for Summer's Ending Soon. Bypass it sounds like this.
Now 7th Avenue. It wouldn't be
Just to create some life and some length and some tail, but it never kind of gets in the way. It's really great from Echo Boy.
Now 7th Avenue. It wouldn't be so kind of you.
Just kind of bounces around in a really nice way. And then we have Tyler doing some low stuff here.
Now 7th Avenue. It wouldn't be so kind.
And I had to really low cut it. I think it just stuck out too much. There was sibilance, and I just was like, you know what? I just need the feeling of a low voice in there. That is always something if you go back, you will notice I rarely do low harmonies, low octave dubs, because I think it can get too heavy sounding. I don't know. But it's also how you mix it. If you low cut it and you make it sound really toppy and you know, it's not like all muddy, then it won't sound like that. So I think it's in my head, but that's something I when I do it, I'm like, yeah, no, that sounds good. But I always am like, is that going to be in the good in there? But it needed it in this case, and it sounded great. So Lilia we have here, she's just being sent. What I do with dubs, I will put an individual, now they were already tuned before this, but put an individual tuner, send it to my bus. I don't treat BVs individually besides tuning, obviously. I send them to a bus and then I treat them. So this is what they sound like dry.
Now 7th Avenue.
Now I had Royce really melodyne the living crap out of these because I wanted them to almost feel like a vocoder, just really like a tight color. So if we just let's try something. Let's mute all this echo and reverb stuff. So this is what it sounds like here.
Now 7th Avenue. It wouldn't be so kind of you.
So it's kind of country a little bit, I guess. But the fact that they're static is something I love.
7th Avenue.
There's so much moving. Now 7th Avenue, we're gonna get some kind of you. That's like your moving line. What I think a lot of people, then when they do BVs and vocal arrangements, there's a lot of I can only speak for pop. It's sort of pop, the world, electronic pop, whatever I want to call it. It's easy to do a lot of parallel stuff. 7th Avenue, don't need no kind of you. And we did that. But if you're only doing that, then everything moves and there's no rubs. You want to have a little rub now and then. You want to have something that feels static so that everything else is moving and there's something static that relates to the chords, because when everything moves, there's no tension. So, you know, these are probably the high ones. And I had to just have a yell it. I was like, just get it out. We'll tighten it up because it's so subtle in the background. It's like so low. But if you listen here.
Now 7th Avenue, it wouldn't be so kind of you. But in the age of the poets, weren't we the kings? Your ghost in my room, forever in bloom.
So obviously they're moving, but like that kind of like da 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 da. Is a good example, not the best example, but it's a good example of just keeping some things a little bit static until it's time for them to move. And so this is the whole package.
Now 7th Avenue, it wouldn't be so kind of you. But in the age of the poets, Were we the kings? Your ghost in my room, forever in bloom. Still drink 4 roses, but the village is a dream.
That's a good example here.
Still drink 4 roses, but the village is a dream.
But the village is a dream. You know, what's he singing here?
Still
Let me get rid of all these reverbs.
drink 4 roses, but the village is a dream.
That's a whole journey. But the village is a dream. And so just having her being a bit more static.
But the village is a dream.
Instead of village is a dream, you know, it just, then everything just moves. So anyway, this is welcome to my brain. Sorry, I got a little nerdy there. So with chords, to give it something to relate to, let's have a listen. This is what it sounds like.
Not 7th Avenue, it wouldn't be so kind to you. But in the age of the poets, were we the kings? Your ghost in my room, forever in bloom. Still drink 4 roses, but the village is a dream. Floating out to sea.
Such a beautiful harmony. Floating out to sea, floating out to sea. I mean, it's so simple. It's just the parallel harmony, but that it just really, sometimes you hear something and it's so simple and it just works. It elevates it in just the right way. So she did a great job on the BVs and vocals on this whole record. She sings BVs on quite a few songs. Yeah, and this one is no exception. Let's get to, what's the bridge? So let's see here.
Walking through the street.
What's she singing here?
Walking through the streets,
So that's just a double.
walking through the streets,
Yeah, nice little high.
fading memory of who we used to be.
I just had her like be super static. I think she's static for the whole thing.
Through the streets, put of me
So when you hear it together,
walking through the streets with a fading memory.
you hear that it becomes, you know, I don't know, the closest thing I can relate it to maybe is like Imogen Heap, where she's obviously using vocoders a lot of the time, but in this case, that's how a vocoder probably would function. You have the movement, which is the main melody. The country does this all the time, but make something feel static, because then as your main lead melody moves in and out and close, around your kind of static note, and then you add chords underneath, suddenly there, you know, you get the little, I call it rubs, but you get those kind of relational tensions, which I live for that.
Walking through the streets with a fading.
Let me just use this one here.
Walking through the streets with a fading memory of who we used to be. You carry part of.
Hang on, let me do this.
Walking through the streets with a fading memory of who we used to be.
Hear how that just becomes like this angelic little dimension? It almost sounds like it's more of a pad or a vocoder. It's not like, oh, what a great BV. I mean, it is a great BV, but it feels like it becomes one with it just becomes see-through. It becomes transparent in a way that I love.
Walking through the streets with a fading memory of who we used to be. You carry part of me. Walking through the streets, every future history of finished elegies. You carry part of me.
Someone says, do you ever use that same note technique with synth leads, or is it only vocal? Absolutely not with synth leads, because that's a lead, but yes, with chords all the time. You know, I was just gonna say that this, you know, this one.
Walking through the streets.
that note right there? What key are we in? Let's try to see here. This is a really good example. Let me just make sure I bring her down again. This is a really good example. We're getting a little long, but we're almost done. But let's use this one here. So we're in C sharp major. And let me just play a little bit. So, if you're in this major key, then this note, it's gonna be what what I'd call a common tone. You can essentially have these notes playing all throughout any key, any note in that key. That's essentially how I play the keys. Sorry, I'm gonna lose connection. So I leave these on the whole time, and then I just move. So those two are there. So essentially you could have these. This is the same note as this, just an octave lower. And then you can just move all your other colors. You find out what you like and what sounds good. This is sunset. So that's kind of that, but yeah. Sounds like The Police. What is that? No other, no, I tried before to tell her all the feelings I have for her in my life. Wrong note. That's one of my favorites. God damn it, it's so good. I was thinking of doing a little drum and bass remix of that actually. This is a great one. When you hit this one, instead of going, go this. This is the Police. This is the Sting move. This is what you would call a tritone, I think it's called in English. You hear that? It's kind of dissonant, but when you use it right, it creates this sort of lift. So if I throw in that note, the tritone note, there's a tension there, but when you relate it to these notes that are like happy and good and clean, suddenly it's a little sad, it's a little wistful. This is what all emo is built on, in my opinion, is keep it in there. But yeah, the Police way is this. And then when you get to this last chord, this one here, coming here, add this one. Beautiful. I mean, I'm not really playing anything that I'm sure all the jazz pianists out there are sitting there going, God, basic bitch he is. And they're not wrong. That's the thing. They're not wrong. And that's okay. I have embraced my inner basic bitch. That's essentially it for this song. Just to touch a little bit on the a very tiny bit of sidechain. Let's mute the vocals and play something, and I'll see what the lack of sidechain does. Let's have a listen, because there's probably a little bit of sidechain on some of these things, not all the elements. Probably this guy, yeah. Probably the bass, and maybe this, yes. So here we go. This is with sidechain. This is how the instrumental sounds. Now, if I bypass this sidechain, just mute it. A little flatter. Bring it back in. Actually, let's mute this here. So this has no sidechain, and this has sidechain. It's ever so subtle, but if you noticed it just changed to the kick just a little bit, and it makes it feel like the kick is a little deeper, and it cuts through the mix a little bit. And in some cases, it means you can actually lower your kick, or you can bring up those other elements, because whenever the kick hits, obviously what am I doing? Explaining the basics of sidechaining. Do you use spectral sidechaining? I don't even know how to do that, so clearly I don't. It's probably really cool. I don't know what that would sound like. If you mean spectral in terms of just part of the sound spectrum, yes, like only the low end, but I haven't done spectral, as through Soothe or FabFilter 4 or whatever. I haven't done that, but maybe I'm misunderstanding your question. But that's essentially it. That is Long Island, broken down. Let's do 5 minutes of questions and see if I can answer them. Yeah, the kick comes through a little bit more. That is correct, Danger Drums. It's just a subtle thing. The Pro Q has got spectral. I just didn't know it was spectral side chaining. I haven't played with that, but I've used the spectral filter or whatever, the effects to clean up. It's really good for resonance issues, resonant frequencies that are like harsh or just kind of keep popping up. Anyway, who plays the solo? That's me, my friend, Chris Hahn. That is me playing. I mean, it's all me playing these cheesy synth lead solos. That's yours truly. And I like doing it. What was the reverb you said you liked ever since Nocturnal? That is this guy here. I just recently downloaded it. It's called Old School Reverb. Forget who makes it. They make free plugins. Voxengo. They have a bunch of, I'm sure they have some that they charge for as well, but this one is pretty much, from what I recall, still free. And it's really good. It's really good on like toms, and I'm sure you could use it on vocals, and it sounds great. So I recommend getting that, because who doesn't like free shit? That's essentially it. Someone's asking, would you ever consider teaching one-on-one mixing and sound design lessons via Skype? I don't think I would, no. I don't know that it would make sense. I think I can reach more people doing this if this is the goal. I think to value my time with all the other things I need to focus on and do, I don't think it would make sense to. I would have to charge, enormous amounts of money for that to be able to kind of justify that, and I wouldn't want to do that. I find this more rewarding and gratifying, going through the process and talking about what I do, because there really is no right or wrong. It's like you have to find your own way, and everything I know I learned from just trying and failing and just figuring out what I like, and then you learn little, it's like a new notch in your belt every time you kind of. Like $500 an hour, I don't think that would be enough, to be honest, to justify my. I'm not saying because I'm this amazing, but because there's so much other stuff I would want to and need to focus on that it would be thousands of dollars an hour, and I think that's insane. And so it's not. I find this more fun, but having one-to-one or one-on-one lessons, I don't know that I don't know that I'm very good at. Maybe I don't know if I'm good at it, you tell me, but I don't know that I have an interest in that. I find it more fun to make music and talk about it, and rather than sit and one-on-one teach, because really that's the thing. This stuff, you just have to learn it from you. You have to try it. You could spend 10 grand with me, and I don't know that you'd be that much better. You just have to do it. That's the real truth of it, honestly. So that's how I learn. It's like learning is just making all the mistakes until you find out what you like and what works for you. And so that's what I would recommend. There's so many videos on YouTube. I go on YouTube all the time for tutorials or to check out a plugin or some kind of technique or whatever it is. So that's more worth your money and your time to kind of just be specific and Google stuff and try try and fail. And that's all good, man. That's what we all do. We all continue. There is no, the idea of sort of getting to a point where you're like, wow, I'm ready, I'm good now. Like that doesn't exist. I still feel like, what the hell am I doing? But, you know, I can fall back on certain skills and a craft that I've built up from doing this for, you know, almost 30 years. But I'm still, I hope I never feel like a, you know, I still feel like a beginner when I start a new track sometimes. And I hope that feeling never goes away, because that's part of the fun of it, is always feeling like there's something new you have to discover. So that will be the remaining words. Thanks for joining, everyone. This was fun, a brief one. Happy New Year to everyone. Take care of yourselves and each other. Be kind to the world around you and to yourself. And I will see you next week, and it'll be dope. Take care, guys. Bye.